second phase of the Lok Sabha elections have concluded yesterday with 63% voter turnout. Voting took place for 88 constituencies. Tripura continued to lead the voter turnout with 77.53%, while Uttar Pradesh registered the lowest turnout with 52.74%. The states of Manipur, which recorded 76.6%, West Bengal 71.84%, Chhattisgarh 72.13% and Assam 70.66% also registered healthy turnouts. This phase saw all of 20 seats of Kerala, 14 in Karnataka, 13 in Rajasthan, 8 each in Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh among other states that went for polls. Remember, parties are now preparing for the third phase of the elections that will take place on the 7th of May. Now, taking you through the voter turnout statistics that had come in, like I mentioned, Assam had 77.4% voter turnout recorded. Bihar saw 57.8%. Chhattisgarh saw 75.2%. Jammu and Kashmir, which was an interesting state that all eyes were on, recorded 72.3% in the second phase. Karnataka saw 68.5%. Kerala saw 70.2%. Remember, Kerala was the complete state that went for polling in the second phase. In the first phase, that was Tamil Nadu. Now, Madhya Pradesh saw 58.3% voter turnout in the second phase. Maharashtra saw 59.6%. Manipur saw 78.8% and Rajasthan 64.1%. Tripura saw 79.7%. That, of course, tells us that northeast states like Manipur, Tripura and Assam did see quite healthy voter turnouts. Uttar Pradesh recorded the lowest voter turnout with 54.9%. West Bengal saw 73.8%. We also learned that there was some sort of a clash between the BJP and the TMC in West Bengal as well. I'm being joined by senior journalist Nisha Gautam on the broadcast. Thank you for joining us. My first question, of course, will be Uttar Pradesh because it's all low voter turnout. My colleagues were on the ground and they were talking to BJP leaders who believe that the voter turnout being low was a positive indication for the incumbent government. Could it be seen that way?
Whenever there is a lower voter turnout, each party likes to interpret it the way that it suits them. So the incumbent would say that, everybody realized that it was a foregone conclusion. So people just did not turn out. And people who did not turn out were actually going to vote, are the voters that were going to vote for the opposition. But the opposition would say that it is actually the BJP voter that did not turn up to cast their vote because they just realized that it was, they could not vote the opposition, but they could also not keep voting the BJP in. So till the time the results are in, I don't think any such assumption or presumption should be made about how the voter has gone and cast their vote, or people who stayed away, who were they actually likely to vote for.
Right, stay on with us. Let me rope in Sandeep Shastri as well, who's the national coordinator of the Lok Niti network. Thank you for joining us, sir. Now, again, we were talking about the low voter turnout in Uttar Pradesh, but do you think other factors also affected voter turnout, like the heat?
It's very clear that there are multiple factors that influence voter turnout. And number two, there is no empirical evidence to show that high voter turnout supports either ruling or opposition, or low voter turnout supports opposition or ruling. There is no empirical evidence to show that. Now, it could be the fact that the election you are referring to, the physical temperature may have been quite high to actually prevent people from going out. It could also be that the political temperature was not very high, which did not enthuse people to go out and vote. So the temperature could be both the political temperature as well as the physical temperature. And if there has been low voter turnout in constituencies which went to the poll in Uttar Pradesh, it does reflect possibly the lack of enthusiasm, and it also does reflect that those parties which have been able to get their committed voters out to the booth will have a slight advantage in such an election, because committed voters go out. When you do not have a high turnout, it means that those who are undecided, those who have the likelihood of changing their preference, have decided not to go out and vote. So Absolutely. These are some implications that you can take out, but We will have to wait for the first week of June to actually know how much impact it has had in these constituencies.
Right. Nishtha Gautam, ma'am, now talking about the Northeast, Tripura has twice in a row now come out with high voter turnout. This time around, Northeast has seen high voter turnout in Assam and Manipur as well, especially where there was ethnic strife and there was some sort of doubt whether people were actually going to come out and vote, especially displaced people for whom there are special booths set up as well. Last time it didn't do as well, but this time Manipur has come out with a lot of voters as well. How do you see this?
I think it is one of the best things that I've seen so far in the two phases that have already concluded, because when people realize that there is absolutely, so voting is actually a very emotional and emotive sort of act on a part of an individual. So sometimes when people come out to vote, despite all odds, it is an extremely, extremely encouraging thing to see for the success of democracy in any country, because people know that it is their right and they're using it to make a change to their lot. Whatever change it is that they are seeking is absolutely immaterial, but the fact that they are exercising their right, they are willing certain change, whether it happens or not, is another question again. So Manipur people coming out, a state that has been up in the flames for almost a year now. And there are about 400 camps, if I'm not wrong, where displaced people are living at the moment. And you contrast it with the neighboring state of Nagaland, where in the first phase there was a boycott, a complete boycott of the polls from at least six assembly constituency regions. So this actually shows that people of Manipur, despite what they have gone through, they still believe in the constitution, they still believe in the rights that the constitution guarantees, and they still believe in the citizenship that India gives them.
Right. Mr. Shastri, now apart from voter turnout, demographics are also significant in terms of women voters now. Nishtha ma'am, I'll come to you on this as well. I want both of your thoughts on this. Now, remember, Northeast, Bihar and Rajasthan, in fact, saw some significant women voters come out this time around. Some of them even saying that they were not told whom to vote, but they made their own independent decisions. Shastri, sir, how do you see this?
If you look at the 2019 polls, there were nearly 7 states where the number of women voters was higher than the number of men who came out to vote. And I think for the last 2 decades, survey data is showing us that women voters have been voting quite independently. Women voters have been voting very differently from how possibly their male family members vote. And this is a very positive and a very welcome development, where the woman is asserting her right to be able to vote independently. And for her, very often, issues relating to the family, issues relating to the well-being of the family, issues relating to the security of her home are the issues which are paramount. And those are often reflected in their responses to various questions in our survey. So the fact that women are coming out with greater enthusiasm and voting is, I think, a sign of a vibrant democracy, where these women are asserting their right to vote on issues which they see as close to their heart. And this, I think, will transform in significant ways the way the voters in India look at the election process. And it's, I think, high time political parties stand up and take that voice into account more seriously.
Right, and I think they have been in this campaign as well that's come up ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. And Nishtha ma'am, especially like Shastri sir said, women are in fact the ones that are making the important decisions when it comes to household decisions in several of the areas that are going to polls. And, I think that's some sort, in a way, translated in the voter turnout as well and the demographics of it.
See, it has always been, in the first few decades of India's independence, I mean, women were just being taken for granted in the sense as voters. I'm not saying that welfare schemes and others were not addressing the welfare of women, but it was seen that women will toe the line of the men in their families, the husbands or the fathers or brothers. They are going to decide who the family is going to vote for en masse. I think for the past 15 years, give or take, women have emerged as an independent voting bloc. And this has been reflected, as Mr. Shastri said, that it has been reflected in the way they have come out, the turnout statistics and the post poll analysis as to who they have voted for, and it is also reflected, and that's, I think, the biggest takeaway from the past decade is that all the political parties have actually amped up their efforts to woo the women voters. And I've always maintained this, that in our country, if your vote does not matter, you do not matter. Whatever group it is, whether it is the women, whether it is a particular community, whether it is a particular sect or a particular region, if the vote does not matter, people do not matter. And you can see that even the Prime Minister realized that there was a lower turnout in the first phase. And you see, incumbents have all the more reasons to ensure that people come out in great numbers and vote. So his appeal yesterday was specifically directed at the women voters, that women should come out in great numbers. And because he realizes that it was women who actually voted him in the last time.
Right. Final question to you, Shastri sir. Now, in the first phase, we had only Tamil Nadu to go with, but now we have Karnataka as well in the second phase. Is the BJP's Modi magic working not only in the Hindi heartland, but specifically in the northeast and South India, where they're vying for this time?
Now, this is a very, very tricky and difficult question to answer. Karnataka has been a state where the BJP already has a strong presence, and half the seats went to the polls yesterday. The BJP has quite an uphill task in Karnataka because last time they won 25 seats, this time they are contesting 25 seats. So they need a 100% strike rate to be able to maintain last time's record. What people are really watching is Kerala and Tamil Nadu, where last time the BJP was not able to get a single seat. Now, there are indications in both the states that the BJP's vote share may increase. They could well in Tamil Nadu enter double digits and do better in Kerala.
Right.
But will that translate itself into seats is a big question.
Right.
Because of the nature of competition in these two states. If you look at Tamil Nadu, the two alliances led by DMK and Anna DMK since 1977, they have got between 70 and 98% of the vote between themselves. So can the BJP-led alliance actually break into that in terms of vote? My answer is yes. But will it translate itself into seats? That's a big question mark. And a similar point applies with regard to Kerala.
Thank you, Sandeep Shastri and Nishtha Gautam, for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this development.